Have you ever found yourself wondering, is this still good for me? That private ritual you've carried with you, sometimes in silence, sometimes in secret. Yes, I'm talking about self-pleasure. It's a topic rarely discussed. Yet quietly, it lingers in the back of many men's minds, especially after 50 or 60. Is it still healthy? Could I be doing some hidden harm to my body without realizing it? If you've asked yourself those questions, you're not alone. This is one of the most misunderstood aspects of men's health in later life, clouded by outdated beliefs, cultural shame, and a surprising lack of reliable science-based guidance. The truth? While a majority of men over 60 continue to masturbate, many do so in uncertainty, unsure of how it affects their hormones, their prostate, or even their intimacy with a partner. That's why today, we're going to have an honest, mature conversation. No judgment. Just facts. Grounded in science. We'll walk through 10 surprising benefits of masturbation in the second half of life, benefits that often go unrecognized. But just as importantly, we'll explore 10 hidden risks that every older man should know. Because when it comes to your long-term health, knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. So take a deep breath, sit back, and let's uncover the truth together. Let's begin with the good news. Yes, despite all the uncertainty and whispering doubts, science has shown that self-pleasure in later life can actually bring unexpected health benefits, especially for men over 60. First and foremost, it supports penile health. As men age, reduced sexual activity can lead to a gradual decline in blood flow to the penis. Over time, this can affect not just performance, but also the structural integrity of the tissue itself. Here's where regular erections, whether with a partner or solo, come into play. Every time you become aroused and achieve an erection, blood rushes into two key sponge-like chambers in the penis called the corpora cavernosa. This influx of blood is vital because it brings oxygen and nutrients, much like watering a plant. Think of it as a form of gentle, targeted physical therapy. The tissue stays elastic, responsive, and nourished. In short, use it or lose it applies here more than you think. Without that regular stimulation, the tissues can begin to stiffen, and the body may redirect resources elsewhere, gradually decreasing erectile capacity over time. So in this context, masturbation becomes not a guilty habit but a maintenance ritual. A private tune-up for a part of the body that still matters deeply in the second half of life. Second, it may help protect your prostate. Now this is a big one, literally and figuratively. The prostate, a small gland located just below the bladder, plays a crucial role in producing seminal fluid. As men get older, it's common for the prostate to enlarge or become inflamed, leading to problems like frequent urination, discomfort, or even more serious conditions. But here's the surprising truth. Multiple studies, including a landmark research project from Harvard University, have shown that men who ejaculate more frequently, around 21 times per month or more, have a significantly lower risk of developing prostate cancer. The working theory is simple but powerful. Ejaculation may help flush out potentially harmful substances, bacteria, or built-up secretions from the prostate ducts, reducing inflammation and clearing out microscopic debris before it can become problematic. It's like spring cleaning for your reproductive system. When practiced mindfully, masturbation may offer your prostate a kind of self-cleaning mechanism, subtle, invisible, but possibly life-saving. So before shame or guilt creeps in, remember this. You're not indulging a bad habit. You're participating in an act of personal wellness, rooted in both biology and longevity. Before we continue to benefit number 8, I'd like to ask you for something simple but important. If you found this video helpful so far, if it's offered clarity, comfort, or even just a sense of not being alone in your questions, please take a moment to like the video. It tells the platform this conversation matters. And if you'd like more content like this, grounded, respectful, and real, hit subscribe and tap the notification bell so you won't miss the next one. You never know who else might need to hear this. So if someone comes to mind, a friend, a brother, a father, feel free to share it with them. Let's continue, because the story only gets more fascinating from here. Behind what seems like a simple act lies a remarkable orchestra of benefits, physical, emotional, and even neurological. Benefit number 3, it strengthens your pelvic floor. You may not think much about the muscles hidden deep within your pelvis. But during orgasm, a very specific group of these muscles, especially the pubococcygeus muscle, or PC muscle, contracts rhythmically. These contractions are more than just part of pleasure, they're a functional workout for your pelvic floor. Why does that matter? A strong pelvic floor is essential for 3 key reasons. It helps maintain firm, lasting erections by supporting the base of the penis and regulating blood flow. It improves ejaculatory control, allowing you to delay climax and experience more fulfilling intimacy. And crucially, it helps prevent urinary incontinence, a growing concern for older men that often starts quietly and worsens over time. In short, every orgasm is like a mini gym session for a group of muscles you may not see, but whose strength affects your daily confidence and quality of life. Think of it as discrete training for resilience, for performance, and for dignity. Benefit number 4, it naturally reduces cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone. We live in a high-pressure world. Financial worries, aging parents, health concerns, loneliness, these stressors add up, and they don't always show on the outside. But internally, cortisol builds. Chronically elevated cortisol doesn't just make you feel on edge, it can elevate blood pressure, disrupt sleep, impair memory, and weaken your immune system. Here's where orgasm comes in. Studies have shown that climax, especially when reached through self-pleasure, leads to a significant drop in cortisol levels almost immediately afterward. This drop isn't just a momentary relief. It can help regulate your nervous system, promote emotional clarity, and restore a sense of calm without needing pills or alcohol. For older men, whose stress systems may already be taxed, this is a quiet but powerful release valve. A natural pressure reset. In that sense, self-pleasure becomes more than physical, it's a form of emotional hygiene. Benefit number 5, it triggers the release of feel-good brain chemicals. This is where biology becomes beautiful. An orgasm floods your brain with a rich cocktail of neurotransmitters. Dopamine, the molecule of motivation, drive, and reward. Oxytocin, the hormone of connection and bonding. Endorphins, your brain's natural painkillers. And even prolactin, which supports post-orgasmic calm and emotional satisfaction. For older adults, especially those living alone or feeling isolated, this neurochemical surge isn't trivial, it can be a lifeline. It reminds the body what pleasure feels like. It tells the brain, you're still alive. You still feel. You still matter. In a world that often forgets to celebrate aging bodies, this inner burst of chemistry becomes a quiet form of emotional resilience. One that costs nothing, requires no one's permission, and still carries the power to lift a foggy day into light. So no, this isn't just about sex. It's about reclaiming your biology. It's about choosing wellness over worry. And it's about honoring the body's wisdom, even in silence, especially with age. Benefit number 6, it helps you detect physical issues early, sometimes before they become serious. When you masturbate, you're not just engaging in a moment of pleasure. You're also, without realizing it, performing a form of self-examination. This consistent contact with your body builds familiarity, the kind that doctors call body literacy. Over time, you begin to know what's normal for you, the shape, size, sensation, sensitivity. And because of that, you're more likely to notice when something feels different. A small lump in the testicle. An area of hardened tissue on the shaft. Unusual pain, swelling, or lack of sensitivity. These might seem subtle, but they can be the first whispers of larger issues like testicular cancer, penile fibrosis, or other hidden abnormalities that often go unnoticed in older men until they become advanced. Routine masturbation, then, becomes a kind of check-in. Not with guilt. Not with shame. But with awareness. You become the first line of defense for your own health, able to recognize when something isn't quite right, and seek help while it's still small, manageable, and treatable. Benefit number 7, it improves sleep quality, especially after orgasm. As we grow older, sleep can become elusive. Hormonal changes, nighttime urination, stress, and even silent anxiety can keep the mind buzzing long after the lights go out. But there's a powerful shift that happens right after climax. A cascade of neurochemicals oxytocin, prolactin, and a significant drop in cortisol combine to create a profound state of relaxation. Your heart rate slows. Your muscles release tension. Your brain, flooded with satisfaction, lets go of its grip on overthinking. This effect isn't imaginary. It's biological. In fact, many older men report that one of the few things that reliably puts them to sleep is a gentle moment of release. It's not escapism, it's regulation. When used intentionally, masturbation becomes a nighttime ritual. One that doesn't rely on pills or alcohol. One that harnesses your own chemistry to help you rest, reset, and recover. Benefit number 8, it enhances overall pelvic blood circulation, not just in the penis. You've probably heard that healthy blood flow is essential for sexual function. But the benefits of increased circulation reach much farther than the bedroom. During arousal and orgasm, the pelvic region experiences a powerful surge in blood flow not just to the penis, but also to the prostate, bladder, perineum, and even the surrounding pelvic floor muscles. Why does this matter? As we age, reduced physical activity and sitting for prolonged periods can cause blood to stagnate in the lower body. This stagnation can contribute to problems like prostate congestion, bladder dysfunction, hemorrhoids, muscle tightness and pain. But regular stimulation, particularly through masturbation, can act as a circulatory reset for the entire pelvic region. It promotes oxygen delivery, helps remove waste products, and supports the health of the organs and muscles you rarely think about until they start giving you problems. In essence, it keeps the engine running. Quietly, consistently, and in a way that no medication or supplement can fully replicate. So as strange as it might sound, the habit you were once told to feel ashamed of may actually be doing more for your aging body than anyone ever explained. Not because it's indulgent, but because it's intelligent. Rooted in biology. Reinforced by science. And completely under your control. Benefit number 9, it can serve as a powerful tool to improve ejaculatory control, especially for men dealing with premature ejaculation. For many men, especially in later life, sexual performance becomes a sensitive subject. But here's the truth, performance isn't about perfection, it's about presence and awareness. Masturbation, in a private and judgment-free setting, offers the perfect space to practice control. Techniques like the start-stop method, where you pause stimulation just before climax, then resume, help retrain the body's timing. Over time, this builds both confidence and connection to your own sensations. You begin to recognize the subtle signals your body gives you as it approaches climax. And with practice, you learn how to slow down, breathe, and extend the experience. What you cultivate in private can transfer powerfully into intimacy with a partner, leading to more satisfying and emotionally connected encounters. It's not just physical training, it's self-awareness in action. Benefit number 10, it keeps your sexual desire and your brain's pleasure pathways alive. You've probably heard the phrase, the brain is the most important sex organ. And it's true. Aging doesn't mean the end of desire, it just asks you to engage with it differently. Regular masturbation, especially when paired with sexual imagination, helps maintain the neural circuits responsible for arousal and desire. When you stop engaging them entirely, those circuits can atrophy, just like in used muscles. But even occasional arousal, fantasy, or stimulation sends a clear message to your nervous system. This still matters. This is still part of you. In the long run, keeping those pleasure pathways activated can help maintain a healthy libido and a responsive body, even if you don't have a regular partner. It's a way of staying connected to yourself, your vitality, and your right to feel alive. Because sexual energy isn't just about sex. It's about presence. And choosing not to let that spark go dark. But to have a complete and honest conversation, we can't focus only on the benefits. Every coin has two sides. And even healthy habits, when done unconsciously or excessively, can turn into something else. So now, let's shift gears. Let's talk about the 10 potential risks or negative effects of masturbation that every man over 50 should be aware of. Not to create fear, but to create clarity. Because a healthy habit is one that is practiced consciously, with awareness, balance, and self-respect. Risk number 1, social isolation. This is one of the most overlooked risks and perhaps one of the most quietly dangerous. Masturbation, by its very nature, is a solitary act. And for older men who may already be dealing with loneliness, loss of a partner, or emotional withdrawal, it can unintentionally become a substitute for real connection. Instead of supplementing your life, it starts replacing it. You begin to choose the certainty of solo pleasure over the vulnerability of real intimacy. And while that may feel safer in the short term, over time, it can deepen the sense of isolation, and even dull your emotional responsiveness. The solution is awareness. Make sure this habit is complementing your life, not replacing it. Pleasure should reconnect you to yourself, not disconnect you from others. Risk number 2, micro tears and skin irritation. This one is purely physical, but just as important. When masturbation is done too vigorously or without proper lubrication, the skin, especially in older men where skin may be thinner and less elastic, can suffer tiny tears. These small injuries might not bleed or hurt immediately, but they create micro openings in the skin that can become irritated, inflamed, or even infected. With age, healing slows down. What used to be harmless at 30 might take longer to recover from at 60. The remedy is simple but vital. Always be gentle. And use a quality, water-based lubricant to protect sensitive tissue. Treat your body with the same respect you'd offer a partner. Risk number 3, reduced sensitivity through repetitive patterns. The brain is adaptive. It learns. And it gets conditioned by repetition. If every time you stimulate yourself it's in the exact same way, with the same hand, same grip, same pressure, same rhythm, your nervous system may start recognizing only that pattern is pleasurable. This can create what's called sensory habituation, where over time, your arousal becomes tightly linked to that one specific type of stimulation. The result? You might find it harder to enjoy or climax during partnered sex because your body has been trained to respond to a very narrow style of touch. The fix? Variety. Switch up your techniques. Slow down or speed up. Change the pressure. Try different positions. Explore different erogenous zones. Keep your brain guessing and your body engaged. Masturbation should train your body to be more responsive, not less. So as we begin this second half of the conversation, remember. The goal is not to shame or restrict. It's to empower you with knowledge, intention, and self-care. Because pleasure, when guided by wisdom, becomes nourishment. But when driven by habit alone, it can turn into a quiet form of escape. Risk number 4, masturbation can mask the deeper causes of erectile dysfunction. It's a scenario more common than you might think. A man finds that he can achieve an erection when alone through masturbation but struggles to perform with a partner. In response, he quietly avoids intimacy and retreats into solo habits, telling himself that everything's fine. After all, things still work, right? But this pattern can hide something deeper. Sometimes, that disconnect with a partner points to psychological barriers, stress, anxiety, unresolved relationship tension. Other times, it can signal real physiological issues, heart disease, diabetes, nerve damage, or even low testosterone. By relying solely on masturbation, you might unintentionally delay identifying a serious underlying health issue. If you notice this pattern, please don't ignore it. Speak with a medical professional. A full evaluation can help uncover the root cause and may even save your life. And since we're talking about root causes, allow me a brief but important pause. Up until now, this video has shown you what is happening. But if you've been wondering why, and more importantly, what you can do about it naturally, I'd love to point you toward a resource I deeply trust. It's a short video presentation revealing a simple, science-based home technique, just 7 seconds long, that addresses one of the core biological factors behind declining male performance. This isn't a gimmick. It's not about masking symptoms. It's about restoring strength and stamina from the inside out, using your body's own chemistry. If you're serious about reclaiming youthful energy and full confidence, I highly recommend watching it. You can scan the QR code on the screen or click the pinned comment below to open the video in a new tab. Watch it when you're ready right after this. All right. With that tool now in your hands, let's continue. Risk number 5, nerve compression due to poor posture during masturbation. This one may not be obvious, but over time, it matters. Many men tend to masturbate while hunched forward, sitting on hard chairs, or applying downward pressure without realizing it. This position can compress the pudendal nerve, a critical nerve running through the pelvis that controls sensation and function in the genital area. Repeated stress on this nerve can result in numbness, pelvic pain, or even a dulled sexual response over time. The solution is simple. Choose a relaxed, body-supported posture, preferably lying down or reclining comfortably. Give your body the same care you'd give during rest or meditation. Risk number 6, it can become an unhealthy emotional escape mechanism. Let's be honest, everyone copes with stress differently. But when masturbation becomes your only tool to manage frustration, sadness, or boredom, it can create a dependency loop. This isn't about shame. It's about balance. When emotional triggers arise, grief, anxiety, loneliness, it's important to have a full emotional toolkit. Exercise, breathing, conversation, connection. Masturbation, when used mindfully, can be part of that toolkit, but it shouldn't be the entire kit. Otherwise, what begins as relief can quietly turn into avoidance. Risk number 7, lingering guilt and shame. For many men, especially those raised in strict cultural or religious environments, masturbation wasn't just frowned upon, it was condemned. The result? A tangled web of guilt, even decades later. You may feel torn between what your body naturally desires and what your upbringing taught you to reject. This internal conflict can lead to chronic stress, emotional suppression, or even self-disgust, especially if left unspoken and unresolved. The solution lies not in judgment, but in healing. Speaking with a sex-positive therapist or counselor can help you untangle those inherited messages. You may discover that your guilt is not truly yours, it was passed down. And in that awareness, you can begin to reclaim a healthy, compassionate view of your own body and its needs. You deserve peace. You deserve pleasure without shame. Risk number 8, pelvic congestion or testicular discomfort from overfrequency. While infrequent ejaculation has been linked to prostate issues, the opposite extreme, ejaculating multiple times per day for prolonged periods, can also cause discomfort. Some men report a dull ache in the testicles or a sense of heaviness in the pelvic region. This can be a result of pelvic congestion, where blood flow and fluid buildup in the area are not given enough time to cycle through and recover. The key is balance. Listen to your body. If you feel tenderness, pressure, or fatigue after frequent stimulation, it's okay, pause. Your body isn't a machine. It communicates. And wisdom comes in learning how to hear it. Risk number 9, potential reduction in semen quality, only relevant for fertility. This isn't an issue for most older men. But for those trying to conceive either with a younger partner or through assisted reproduction, it's worth mentioning. Daily ejaculation may reduce sperm concentration temporarily. It doesn't harm long-term fertility, but if you're hoping for the best possible sperm quality, science suggests abstinence for 2 to 5 days is optimal. Again, this is not a warning, it's a guideline. If fertility is part of your journey, timing and moderation can make a meaningful difference. Risk number 10, emotional disconnection, especially when linked to unrealistic porn use. This final risk is one of the most quietly corrosive. In today's digital world, it's easy to rely on extreme or unrealistic pornography as a stimulus. Over time, this can warp your brain's expectations of sex, making real-life intimacy feel less exciting, less satisfying, or even overwhelming. You begin to associate arousal only with artificial scenarios, perfect lighting, edited bodies, impossible stamina. And what gets lost is the warmth, the messiness, the beautiful imperfection of human connection. The remedy is simple, yet powerful. Bring back your imagination. Use memories, sensations, and emotional connection, not just your eyes, but your mind and heart. Let fantasy come from within, not just from a screen. Porn isn't inherently harmful. But over-reliance on it can lead you away from reality and farther from your partner. So, as you've seen, this isn't a conversation about whether masturbation after 60 is good or bad. That kind of thinking is far too simple for a body and mind that have lived this long. No, this is about understanding it as a tool. And like any tool, its value depends not on the object itself, but on the intention behind its use. When approached with awareness, with respect for your body, and with balance, it becomes something more than just physical. It becomes a way to stay connected. To sensation. To vitality. To yourself. That's the key, not habit, not shame, but conscious choice. I truly hope today's conversation gave you something meaningful. Something useful. Maybe even something healing. And now, I'd really love to hear from you. Which part of this video surprised you the most? What thoughts did it stir in you? Drop a comment below. Let's keep this conversation alive, because it matters more than most people realize. And if this video gave you insight or comfort, please tap like and hit subscribe to get more clear, thoughtful guidance on health, aging, and energy in the second half of life. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you won't miss our next talk. Thank you for your time. Take good care of your body. Take even better care of your mind. And I'll see you again in the next video.